Hello, once again I'm the Northern Luddite, and once again I'm going to complain about things. Now on the 5th of May, Britain will vote which lazy and corrupt waste of space will represent them on the local council, but we will also be voting on the electoral system. The suggested alternative is AV, so here is my view on why AV is rubbish. I could have taken the time to carefully research and put together various images for this video, but instead I've decided to illustrate this video with pictures of rubbish, as it sums up AV rather well. So where to start? The main argument used by the pro-AV camp is that the old system is old and needs to change. AV is different, so it is a change. Well, deciding to wear a bikini while living at the North Pole rather than a polar exploration suit would be change, but that doesn't mean it is a good idea. Only 3 countries have changed their parliamentary elections to AV, and it has been such a success one of them is in the process of changing back. This isn't exactly the best recommendation to change a system to elective government, really, is it? Another rather poor argument used by the pro-AV camp is that after the last election, where hundreds of people were unable to cast their vote, the system is broken and needs to change. This is drivel, as what prevented hundreds of people from casting their vote was incompetence by returning officers, and the voting system had nothing to do with it. In fact, the only argument which the pro-AV camp seem to have is that let's change this, changing things always makes things better. Well, did changing the recipe of Coke really help? Didn't think so. Now the next rather flawed argument for changing to AV is that it is more democratic. Well, under the not exactly perfect first-past-the-post system we have now, everyone has one vote and they cast it for the person who they want to represent them in Parliament. That's right, everyone has one vote. Under AV, if half the electorate have not voted for one candidate, then whichever candidate got the least votes has theirs taken away and given to whoever their voters show second. This keeps going until one candidate passes 50%, so basically the people who voted for the worst candidates get to vote lots of times, and the people who voted for one of the better ones don't. Now, do we really want people who vote for the joke candidates, like members of the Monster Raving Loony Party and the BNP, to have more votes than other people? Because I was under the impression that democracy is where we all have an equal say in the running of the country. AV is the non-competitive school sports day of the electoral world. No one is allowed to lose, so the people who aren't really that good get more votes to make them feel better for having voted for loonies or gits. Do we really want to give a casting vote as to who represents us to someone who voted for Nick Griffin first time round? No, I didn't think so. Another rather poor argument for AV is that at present only the people who live in marginal constituencies vote really counts. That is crap. Everyone's vote is worth the same. Just because you live somewhere where the majority of people vote for a candidate you didn't vote for doesn't mean the system isn't fair. It just means that more people want someone else to win, and therefore the person that most people want to win wins. This isn't unfair, it is called democracy. Just because more people want someone else to win, it doesn't mean you have been hard done by, and it's all unfair, it means you are outvoted. If you don't like it, tough. AV is like when someone doesn't look where they're going, trips over a can lying on the pavement, and then sues the council, as it is everyone else's fault as they're special, and they should have everything their own way, even if it means the council can't afford to run schools anymore, as they're having to pay them compensation for tripping over a can they couldn't be bothered to look out for. Basically the argument is, it isn't fair, I'm going to stomp off and sulk in the corner because I didn't get my own way. Which is why the Lib Dems like it. Because they think they're special, and it isn't fair that no one wants one as an MP. Boo-hoo, I hate you, I want my chocolate biscuit, sorry, I mean a Lib Dem MP. Something which the pro-AV people have yet to get around to explaining is how it would be fair for the majority of people in a constituency to vote for a candidate, and then have another candidate made MP instead. In the various pictures attempting to explain the two systems, you never see one candidate with a clear lead in the first round, but this is what happens in pretty much every seat. For instance, in Durham, the winning candidate at the last general election had 1,000 more votes than the second place candidate, so they won. Under AV, they may have had more votes, but they could easily have not been made MP if the people who voted for the third place candidate were given another turn. Voting is supposed to be about making a positive statement about who you want to represent you. AV is saying, well, I'd kind of like them to win, but if not, I'll say someone else, as I really don't want that other person to win. It's a system for the negative. A vote is supposed to be about choosing who you want to win, but AV is more about trying to screw over who you don't want to win. This is why people who like AV tend to be whingers, who keep saying it isn't fair that their candidate didn't win, even though a clear majority of people wanted someone else to win. It's a spoiled brat taking their football back because the other kids won't let them score of the political systems. I can't win, so I'll not let them win. Because I'm special, and it's not fair if I don't get my way. The final reason is a rather hypocritical one. Having just said that AV is a negative little system, which is more about saying I don't want such and such to win than I want such and such other person to win, the biggest reason to vote against AV is that it will really annoy Nick Clegg. Now, there is a saying that you can tell as much about someone by who doesn't like them as who does, and quite frankly, anything which annoys Nick Clegg is a good thing. He himself has described AV as a miserable little compromise, and he should know about this as it is almost certain to be the title of his memoirs. Incidentally, I have illustrated the point about Nick Clegg with an empty can of relentless, as he talks relentless rubbish. Of course, there is an argument that David Cameron doesn't like AV, so should vote against it to piss him off, but it isn't going to do any actual political harm to him. I really want to see the smug posh grin wiped off his silver spoon-hiding mouth, where voting for AV will have no effect on him, while voting against it will end Nick Clegg's political career. He has sold the soul of his party to try and get AV, and if he fails, that will be it. So in summary, AV is a rubbish system, best illustrated with pictures of rubbish. It takes away the principle of one person, one vote, and hands control of the electoral system to the people who are least representative of the general public. People who vote for joke parties. And whinging people who think they're smarter than everyone else, so they are always right, and it isn't fair that their candidate never wins. A miserable and negative electoral system. And it will wreck Nick Clegg if it gets thrown out. I'm the Northern Luddite, and I will be voting no. Please join me and help protect democracy so the majority will get what they vote for, not the minority, and the unrepresentative loonies.